Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Elijah Talks Ball. Got my big parka that I just bought from TJ Maxx today, or my girlfriend bought it. Surprised me. Told her to go out and look for it because I saw my buddy rocking it. It's Hawk & Co. Never heard of them, but man, I'm never taking this thing off ever again. I feel like I'm sitting inside of a heated cloud. It's amazing. So maybe look a little goofy. Don't feel goofy, that's for sure. But anyways, we're talking about the World Series recap today. Dodgers win in 5 in the Bronx. They break the hearts of Yankees fans. They step on the egos of the New York Yankee players, and they bring home a title to LA, where 98% of their fans watched the first game just last week. So, shout out to the Dodgers fans that are legit and have been watching it all year. And listen, I don't really care. If you want to watch your team, or if you want to say your team is your team when it's in the World Series, who cares? Root for who you want to root for. But shout out to the guys who stuck through it all and have been there through when you lost to the Astros, when you lost to the Red Sox, when you won the one in 2020 and everybody said it's not a real World Series. I heard Rich Eisen say today, how is it not real? Oh, because it was a shorter season, but it's the craziest restrictions anybody's ever played at. And it was, the most probably frustrating season for all the players and coaches that anybody's ever seen. Seems pretty legit to me. It seems even harder. So it's actually a different perspective, because I was kind of in the camp of, is it? I mean, it's a championship. You go down in the record books, but they weren't satisfied. And going into this series, you certainly felt like they were the more battle-tested team, not only over the past couple seasons, but just in this postseason. Going to 5, being down 2-1 against the Padres, certainly felt like whoever won that series, especially if it was the Dodgers, exercising those demons of early round exits, and the Padres got you and kind of have flipped the script. Because for the past couple years, the Dodgers had been their daddy. But the Padres have kind of said, we're sunning you now. They get past them, and they shut them out in the final 2 games. And then they get the red-hot Mets, feel-good story, and they make light work of them. And, the Yankees, they go up against the Royals, which, no offense to Royals fans, nobody thought you were going to go to the World Series, and you had an incredible run, but you were no Padres, and same with the Guardians. Great year, great fundamental baseball, amazing bullpen, solid base running, but you weren't even close to the Mets, really. So Yankees just go into that, which a lot of their mistakes got covered up because those teams weren't as potent. Well, you get to the World Series with the Dodgers, and the mistakes that plagued the Yankees all year long really came to bite them in the ass. And what have the Dodgers done all year long? And Dave Roberts has done a great job of this, figuring out ways to win. This team is selfless. They perform at the right times, and they don't make crucial mistakes, and they capitalize on the ones that you do. And the Yankees made a lot of mistakes all throughout the year, and even in the Guardians series, they had a terrible run to tie the game, or a terrible error to tie the game against the Guardians. They had 4 base running mistakes. 1 got bailed out, but you're looking at this is not going to fly in the World Series, and it didn't. Game 1, obviously, the incredible walk-off by Freddie Freeman. That doesn't start without Gleyber Torres not knowing how to cut off a ball and Ohtani going to third, and they cash in the run to tie the game. And then Aaron Boone yanking Cole early and bringing in Nestor Cortez, who hadn't pitched in a month. You didn't see Dave Roberts making those silly decisions. This was his time, and everybody gives him a little bit of crap, and it's hard to not feel this way. Well, you got the most loaded team. How can you not win a bunch of games? And there's some truth to that. But after his job in this postseason, which looked like it was going to fall flat on its face for a little bit, if the Yankees did come away with the victory in Game 5, which we'll get to it in a second because it was exhilarating, he did a hell of a job. And now he is a 2-time World Series champion for that. And he's been to 4. So he's kind of cementing his legacy. He's going to be there for a while. And you feel like this might be the start of a run. You kind of get that monkey off your back. You still have Freddie, Mookie, and Shohei for the next, however many years. They're there for a while. Red Sox fans, you got to be sick to your stomach that you don't have Mookie, Duran, and Devers as a core right now for your squad. That is just needs to get rehashed at least once every few months to keep the fire burning as to why the Red Sox are no longer successful. Either way, this squad is going to be dangerous. Now, you got Muncy. Teoscar's a free agent. He'll probably go somewhere. He earned a lot of money this offseason. Kike, he'll probably go on to another contender. Maybe you bring him back. He's not a high-priced guy, but he's great in the postseason. You need to get his brain scanned before postseason starts because he was on a different level. But you did all this without Kershaw, without Gavin Stone. Tyler Glasnow went down halfway through the year. Shohei's still yet to pitch. Walker Buehler was finding his way back. Dustin May got hurt in the beginning of the year. You did all of that without, arguably, your best 5 guys. So there's no reason to think that this team stays healthy. Look out, MLB. Let's jump into Game 5, and then we'll probably wrap it up with a little bit of Yankees talk, what they're looking forward to, because they have a bright future, but there are a shit ton of question marks about 2 big things. So, Game 5, I've been telling my girlfriend the entire day that the Yankees will not win this game unless, obviously, Garrett Cole comes out and shoves, but he needs to go 1-2-3. Preferably, you strike out Freddie Freeman, end the inning, but you at least want to make quick work of the inning, no walks, no hits. And then Judge needs to come in and have a big hit in the first inning or at some point in the game, but if they have a huge hit in the first inning by Judge, I don't see this team losing. And that exactly happened. Cole comes out and shoves 7 pitches, bottom of the inning. Glaber, he gets out, but Juan Soto draws, I think it was a 7-pitch walk. You're like, nice job. Flaherty, he had been serving fastballs to Judge, and Judge couldn't catch up in that first game. His timing clearly was not good in the first couple, but it got better over the past couple games, and first pitch fastball down the middle, Judge spanks it to right field. Crowd goes bonkers. And I was losing my shit. I wish that my house cam caught my celebration, but apparently we hadn't renewed our subscription for the past 3 days. So I didn't get to see it. I would upload it. It was hilarious. I was so happy. I was jumping up and down. I love Aaron Judge. 2-0. Well, how about back-to-back Daddy Jazz? Jax won second deck. Crowd bonkers times 2. Incredible first inning. Up 3-0 already. Cole dialed in. Didn't allow a hit in the first 4 innings. Stanton adds a solo home run. Volpe leads off with a double. Dugo drives him in. So, 5-0. Going into the top of the 5th inning. And then an all-time collapse that we had never seen and we may never see, especially in a World Series game, but maybe in general. Kike, right after the announcers, Garrett Cole has not allowed a hit. Boom, single. Jinx. Well then, soft line out to center field. Judge just takes his eye off the ball, trying to maybe make a play on Kike at first. In and out of the glove. Runners safe. First and second, no outs. Next play, ground ball to Volpe. Kind of run into third base side. Trying to get the force at third. Skips it. Jazz can't make a play. Bases loaded, no outs. You're like, is this really happening? Back-to-back errors? Like, they're going to give up a couple runs here. Well, fear not. Because Garrett Cole got on a different level of existence. Strikes out Gavin Lux. Strikes out Shohei Ohtani. Looking insanely dominant. You're like, he's going to get out of this inning. But he's still got to go through Mookie Betts. Well, he did exactly just that. And he jams Mookie, gets him to weakly ground out to first base, except Rizzo, who's charged that ball probably 1,000 times in his life, decides to let it slow roll into his glove. And Cole, seeing that this is close enough for him to take, kind of idles down. But Mookie, running hard, beats it out. Yankees' third error of the inning brings a run across and keeps the inning alive. And then what else happens? Freddie Freeman hits a jam shot single up the middle, 5-3. And then Teoscar, yeah, when it rains, it pours. Double over Judge's head, 5-5. Yankees get out of that inning. And I got to say, Cole showed a hell of a lot of toughness to be out there for 38 pitches, no breaks, just gassed. Gets through it and made 6 outs that inning. That was not on Cole. He had a hell of an inning. He had a hell of a performance. Even though his stat line says 5 unearned runs, which doesn't count for his ERA, this guy went 6 2/3, no earned runs, and was dominant because he came out for the next 2 innings and shoved. Yankees had a run on a Giancarlo Stanton sac fly. But man, we talked about the questionable calls by Boone a little bit ago. This was another one. First off, I know Cole was gassed, and you could tell he was gassed. And did he go out on his sword. It sucks that 5th inning happened because you would look back that Cole probably goes 8 innings, and then they hand it off to Weaver in the 9th. He probably goes 8 innings, no earned runs, 4 hits. Like, this would have been an all-time performance. He had that stuff. He was lights out. And it sucks that it's not going to be remembered like that because, man, we all watched it and he was on a different plane. But Aaron Boone brings in Clay Holmes, and Clay Holmes is making me nervous over the past couple months. And he had a stretch where he was really good, but listen, this guy was a free agent for a reason. That, it's not like he's Mariano Rivera or Francisco Rodriguez. And he found something earlier in the year, but he kind of came back down to earth. And when he put him in, I was cursing at him. Because I don't like when you bring in a guy in a situation like that just to get one out. Felt risky. And it was, because he walked the first guy. I think he walked the second guy as well, or he hit him. He ends up getting out of the inning, and you're like, thank God. And the Yankees keep the lead 6-5, but you skidded by you skidded by the skin of your teeth on that one. And the plan going into this game felt like Cole goes 7, Weaver goes 2. That kind of seemed like it was going to be the blueprint, which is why you took Weaver out game 4. You said we don't need him to pitch anymore. He's going to pitch tomorrow. Having that nice lead allowed you to do that. But then you bring in Tommy Kahnle, which has been pretty good. The changeup god. I think at one point threw 57 consecutive changeups. But the frustrating part of this is that this team has seen him throw so many changeups that they're too good and they're too well coached to not adjust. And first of all, he didn't even have it. Comes in, loads the bases on walks and a catcher interference. But the whole point of throwing changeups is to change up the speed and the look from the hitter. You might as well just throw straight fastballs 57 times in a row. If you're not going to add any sort of off speed, the hitter's going to be like, okay, is he serious? He's going to throw me an 87 mile an hour pitch? Yeah, it has a little bit of movement, but shit, I hit curveballs. I can hit a changeup. So they end up bringing in Weaver anyway. And at that point, you're like, well, he's going to try to get 6 outs in the first place. So we're not going to bring him into what John Smoltz called a hornet's nest. And it was. Bases loaded, no outs. Dodgers down by 1. They get 2 sac flies, Mookie being the last one. Go up 7-6. And props to Judge. He did bring his bat. Leads off the next inning with a double. Got a double. I think Soto grounded out, and then Judge got a double with 1 out, but they couldn't drive him home. And they went 1-2-3 when Walker Buehler came in after 2 Tommy John surgeries. Comes in, organization raised player from the farm. Comes in, gets it done, throws the hook, gets Verdugo swinging, and he says, "What else did you expect? Dodgers World Series champions." So, incredible Game 5, tons of emotions. Just went to show you what these teams were this year. Dodgers, sound, good pitching, great bullpen, timely hitting. Obviously, they got a ton of pop, but a smart team. TEAM. They were a smart team. Selfless. The Yankees, kind of showboaty. Said, yeah, we're going to make some errors. We're going to have some outs on the base pass, but we're going to slug. And we're going to slug so hard that it's not going to matter. And we're, as Boone has said, these guys are talented. They know how to play baseball, but, an error on a Saturday 4:00 game that comes back to bite you is way different against an error in the 5th inning that ends up costing you a run in the World Series against a team that's the best team in baseball. You just can't have it happen. And the Dodgers clearly were the better team. Now, do they have more talent? At times it felt like the Yankees lost this series more than the Dodgers won it. And I stand by that a little bit. But part of the game is making them plays when you need to. And the Dodgers did it at pretty much every single turn. And the Yankees, they couldn't. They should have won Game 1. Well, they didn't. The next 2 games, Dodgers got them. Yeah, they won Game 4. And they should have won Game 5. So right now you'd be looking at tomorrow night, Game 6, LA, Yankees up 3-2. If they played how the Dodgers did, but they didn't. And the Dodgers are World Series champions. Freddie Freeman, hit a home run in 6 straight World Series games going back to 2022 when he hit home runs in Game 5 and 6 with the Braves. And then he hits one in the first 4. Obviously, the massive walk-off in Game 1. What a legendary World Series. 12 RBIs. Just clutch hit after clutch hit. 2 home runs in the first inning. That walk-off one. And then the huge 2-run single. To really just bring life back into the Dodgers. Because that stadium was popping 5-0. And then the Yankees fans could all sense, yeah, our team's choking it. And they did. And the Dodgers, it feels like the Yankees are the Dodgers from a couple years ago. Young, inexperienced, egotistical, a little bit raw, not as clutch as you would like. And the Dodgers went through the losses. They went through the World Series heartbreak. They went through the early exits. They went through all the questions of, is this team just... Are they just superstars? They don't have any grit and tenacity to them. They went through all that. And they battled this whole year going through injury after injury. Mookie Betts missed a lot of time as well. And now they're World Series champs. So, if you're looking down the road for the Yankees, which, final congratulations to the Dodgers. Happy for you guys. Happy for the fans that really care. The ones that don't. I have a friend. His name's Aaron. We call him Phil because he's Filipino. Don't cancel me. Don't care either. I don't think I have enough followers to be canceled anyway. But, happy for the teams happy for the people that root for the Dodgers, and happy for the families of the players, and obviously happiest for the players and the managers. This was their grind, and you got to keep that in perspective when you're rooting against the team. These players, this is their job, and they work incredibly hard to win it all. So you got to be happy for them, because this has been their dream since they were a kid. So you got to keep it in perspective. It sucks when your team loses, but got to be happy for the guys who came out on top. A lot of them are good people that dream about this every day. So good job, guys. Moving on. We got to talk about the Yankees real quick. And then I want to watch Thursday Night Football, Halsey performance. It's my girlfriend's celebrity crush. Don't blame her. Um, yeah. So the Yankees, question marks. Aaron Boone. I'm undecided. I think it'd be hard to not bring him back. But I think if you're gonna, you got to look to bring in a guy like Ron Washington. Because your fielding has got to get better, but you got to get a little bit of an attitude. And the one thing that the Yankees are that the Dodgers, not so much. Yankees are pretty farm grown. You know, obviously Volpe, Wells, Torres, Judge, or Oswaldo Cabrera, Ben Rice. You know, shoot, I'm blanking on another one. I think Nestor Cortez. There's a lot of guys on that squad that came from the AAA, or excuse me, came from the minor leagues, the AAA. Jeez, you even watch sports? You know, this team is from the roots. And there's something to be said when you go through something like this as a squad. You know, you're going to gain what it takes, what the Dodgers learned to get to the next step. But you got to add the right pieces. You can't look at this and say, oh, we were so close and we'll build on it. No. You guys played like shit in the World Series. And quite frankly, you played like shit throughout the whole playoffs. But you just had big enough moments to overcome them. You need a guy like Ron Washington who helped the Braves win that World Series in 2022. Was on the Rangers back in the day when they went to the World Series. Or he was the manager. This guy's got a little bit of a tenacity, and he's, probably the best fielding coach, at least the most reputable one. And that's your biggest issue right now. And when I look at your lineup, Rizzo, already, you kept him because he's a solid bat, but he plays great defense at first. This year, defensively, not so good. You start looking at Ben Rice, who you called up and had, a couple really awesome moments. You say, is he going to contribute more? Because you can get a little bit of money off your hands and stick with a young guy, kind of go through the growing pains. He's already shown that, he can hit decently at the big leagues. Give him a full spring training. Gleyber Torres, he's a free agent, but you just traded for Jazz. I don't think you can keep Jazz at third base going into next season. If you're going to let Gleyber walk, which I don't know how you would bring him back, not saying he's not worth it, but the price he's going to cost, plus you have Jazz that you can move back to second base, his original position. Then you stick Volpe, or you keep Volpe at short. Then you look, maybe you trade for a guy like Ryan McMahon. Lefty, Colorado Rockies, Gold Glove defense. Like, that guy would be a plug-and-play 35-homer guy in Yankee Stadium, solid defense. Then you got Wellesley behind the plate. You probably keep Trevi for your right-hand platoon bat, and he, good defensively. But the outfield, the biggest question mark, obviously, Juan Soto. And he said he's excited for free agency, and he wants to hear what every team has to offer, and I don't blame him. I find it hard to think that he's not going to go back to the Yankees. I don't see him going to the Mets. I don't see him going to the Dodgers. Padres, he was already there. Like, he looks good in a Yankee uniform. It's the biggest market. They got a great chance to be back in the playoffs every year and arguably the World Series. Got the camaraderie. The fans love him. They're going to pay a ton of money. So I'd imagine he stays back. Is he going to want to play left field? Because that's where I believe you got to put him. Not that he isn't a good fielder, because he's gotten better. He certainly has. Now, he's no Mookie Betts. But if you put him back in left field, and you shift Judge back over to right, his natural position, where he's one of the best defensive guys in the league in right, you got Jason Dominguez in the minors, which, not sure why we didn't see more of him this postseason. Because he came up last year, first at bat home run off of Verlander. You're like, okay, why didn't we see him pretty much at all this season? And yeah, he's only 20 years old, so let him cook a little bit, let him develop. But you got to assume that going into spring training, he's going to be your starting center fielder. And now you're looking at your outfield being a left Soto, center Dominguez, a.k.a. the Martian, because small size, but got speed, got power, really got a lot of range. I mean, incredible prospect. Then you got Judge and Wright. And you're going to bring Cole back. You're going to bring Nestor back. You got Luis Heel, who showed that he's got the stuff. If he can work on his location and stay healthy, he's going to be nasty. Carlos Rodon, he's a solid 2. The bullpen, you could probably add a guy like Tanner Scott. Lefty out of the pen. He only had really Tim Hill and Nestor Cortez in this playoffs. Not the most ideal. So add a couple bullpen arms. Weaver looks like he's probably going to be a decent closer. You like that? This team's got a lot to be excited about. But you can't just say, oh, we got so close. Let's just build on what we did and we'll be good. No, you got to look in the mirror and be honest. Like, Boone, you got to change up the attitude. You got to stop being such a player's coach. You got to put your foot down at times. A lot of the times you see, kids running the household because, I don't want to make him upset. He's my friend. It's like, no, you're their parent. And I'll tell you what, as many times as my dad pissed me off, I always knew that he was saying it because he knew it was the right thing to say, and I needed to look in the mirror. And having all those times as a kid developed into now as a man, I can evaluate those things in quick time. Say, all right, I was raised like this. This is not the right decision. But you only get that way from pissing off people sometimes. You can't always be the friend. You got to be the judge sometimes. No pun. So I think the Yankees, they got the potential to be, in this thing the next 5 years, really. But they got to go out and you got to add a couple managers that, yeah, they're going to develop a relationship, but they're not going to be buddy-buddy. And if you're not playing good enough, then sit on the bench. Or get out of here if you don't want to be on this train. So, maybe drop some of the players' coach stuff and start being a team coach. And, yeah, how about we teach some fundamentals as well? So, outside of that, guys, baseball season is over. We're in the offseason now. Excited for it. A lot of big names coming up in free agency. You got Max Fried. Obviously, Juan Soto. Pete Alonso. I'm blanking on some of them, but we'll have a whole episode. There's a ton of good names. I just looked at the list the other day, but I'm getting a little bit of stage fright. Can't think quickly on my toes. It's late as well. I want to make steaks and pasta so I can sleep tight. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Looking forward to talking about it throughout the offseason. Probably going to talk a little basketball, too. Celtics off to a hot start. That's going to start rolling. So, obviously, football in full swing. Check out the Thursday night recap. Houston loses to the Jets. Or should I say Jets beat the Texans because they earned that victory. So, outside of that, congrats, Dodgers. You earned this one. Yankees, good season, but tough way to go out, which maybe that's what you needed. Outside of that, guys, stay safe. God bless. And happy Halloween, by the way. Peace out.